I now call Michelle Thompson.
Scots being a historic nation with a proud past, and as a nation they have an undoubted right to national self-determination. They should determine on independence. Should they determine on independence, no English party or politician would stand in their way, however much we might regret their departure. The words of Margaret Thatcher. Perhaps Rishi Sunak might reflect on this principle from one of his heroes. After all, he believes in mandates, and I know that he does, because Reuters reported on the 15th December 2019 that during his Andrew Marr interview as Deputy Finance Minister, he said, "The overriding mandate we have from this election result is to get Brexit done. We will leave the EU in a matter of weeks." That irony surely cannot be lost to those benches. But let's turn to our colleagues on this side of the chamber here. The most powerful Scottish party for decades, who used to weigh their votes rather than count them because they were so dominant. Yet here they are, scrapping for every single vote they can muster as a result of their utter betrayal of their traditional vote, which has left them languishing in a lowly third place of Scottish politics. And yet they still have learned nothing, as Sarah Boyack has just mentioned. Keir Starmer helped launch their latest reincarnation of a federal solution to the problems of the UK. And on the 5th of December last year, he was asked by Glenn Campbell if he had the courage in Scotland to test those ideas against independence. His answer? "We have been absolutely transparent and clear about this. Those are the recommendations. We will put those missions before the electorate, and if we are elected into power, we will have a mandate to carry it out." And that's it right there, Presiding Officer. That is why Labour are finished in Scotland, because their leaders over generations believe that only mandates that are delivered by an English majority carry any value or weight. And the Scottish vote is nothing more than a means to bolster their position without the need to deliver what the people demand, and what the people have demanded them to deliver is the right to choose our constitutional future. Alex Cole-Hamilton, on the 3rd of July last year, was asked by Martin Geisler if the SNP won a general election, would that constitute a mandate? He replied, no, not at all. And yet, Presiding Officer, in the same interview, he was reminded of his own party's manifesto commitment in the 2019 general election that they would simply reverse the Brexit decision. Now, his response to that point was that they didn't win the election, but, Presiding Officer, we did. So, by the rationale of Mr Cole-Hamilton's argument, we in these benches should simply declare independence. But we won't. It's not this party's policy not to allow the people to have their say, unlike the other three unionist parties in this debate. And it's for that reasoning that the lady who deserves the final word of my contribution, Presiding Officer, is Winnie Ewing. As the opening speaker for the SNP in the Queen's Speech debate in November 1977, she said, "The national movement will not go away. If the people of Scotland are satisfied with them in a Parliament, that is what they shall have. Although we shall go on protesting that they want more. And if the Scottish people do not want more, we shall not win elections after that. It is a simple matter of democracy." Presiding Officer, it is a simple matter of democracy, and if other parties actually believe in democracy, then their own denial of it should worry them far more than the outcome of a referendum.
Mr Fairlie, and Adam for up to 4 minutes, please, Ms Adam.
Thank you, Presiding Officer. I'm delighted to stand here today in the Chamber to debate a manifesto commitment that my constituents voted me in to deliver. The SNP won the Scottish election with this commitment front and centre to hold a referendum. Firstly, I just want to address my colleague Jackson Carlaw, who spoke of the Tory, Labour and SNP governments struggling with the NHS crisis. Can I point out that there's a stark difference between these governments? The Tories can borrow more, the Tories can change immigration policy, but they choose not to, and that is the terrifying fact. In 2021, I included independence referendum in my campaign socials and materials, as did my opposition, but theirs was with a plea to reject an independence referendum. Now, talk about obsessive, because their materials included more talk of an independence referendum than mine. Now, I won a majority, such as my colleagues did. advocating for Scotland's inalienable right to independence, and it is on that basis we formed a government. Now, there may be cries from the opposition benches to halt or stall a referendum using a myriad of excuses, but of course we know from experience that many of these excuses to stay put in this toxic and declining union are actually the very reasons to leave it. At the very least, reasons which highlight the need for the Scottish people to be presented with the option, should Scotland be an independent country. People don't just deserve what they vote for, they have a right to it, and certainly within the parliamentary term which they voted it in. Presiding Officer, the choices I am here to make come from the people, were decided on by the people, and should be carried out by us on behalf of the people. The Unionist parties had their chance to convince the nation and they failed. They have a right to present their case to oppose independence, but they have no mandate to remove the choice. It is undemocratic and a shameful dismissal of the mark on the ballot paper that got us all here. What exactly would that be telling the people of Scotland? That ultimately it doesn't matter what they vote for because politicians in Westminster can overrule it? The Supreme Court judgment laid it bare for the world to see that this union is not consensual nor democratic, and it's something which could concern us all immensely. How dare politicians that Scotland did not vote for tell us what we can and cannot do? The patronising remarks I hear, I just can't bear. It's condescending to tell the electorate that what they voted for might not be what they need. It's pompous, it's arrogant, it's rude and it's belittling. Do they really think it's their place to tell the people what they want? We're here to give the people of Scotland what they want and what they elected us to do. We can listen to the cries of decisions of elections past, but that is a Scotland and indeed a UK that is no longer recognisable. We have been through the ringer, and much of it is self-inflicted by ideological party politics. We gave the union a chance, and now we are reaping what was sown, and it is rotten. Brexit and a fishing sector sold out, labour shortages and red tape that could wrap the globe thrice. To the British nationalists in this chamber today, I plead, have some integrity and be bold. Stop standing in the way of democracy and be brave in your convictions. If you're that sure that they are worthy of support, then put it to the people and ask them. It's them who pay our wages. It is them that gifted us this honour. Democracy isn't just for those who agree with you. That is something else entirely. In closing, Presiding Officer, I look forward to the people choosing a fairer, richer, cleaner, more equal and outward-looking country, one which isn't constrained and stripped of all its parts in some UK scrap heap. I fully support this motion and look forward with high hopes. Thank you.
Thank you, Ms Adam.